I think the most shocking thing I saw on the border was the kids giving themselves up to the border guards. In other words, if we had 1 million border guards, that would just make it easier for them to give themselves up. It's not like they're running from us, they're running to the border guards. So to me, in my mind, I thought more border guards would be helpful, but in fact, that wouldn't be helpful at all.
Well, now that you're back in D.C., how is Congress going to protect American towns from what's essentially an illegal invasion?
There are more people coming across the border than those that we sent in an invasion of France. Let me say that again. There are more people coming across the border than invaded France in World War II. That is an invasion of our nation, and most of them are coming across into Texas. I think we need to take action and do it quickly. We've been here before. We were here in 2005 when we had a huge refugee problem with Brazilians, and they expedited the return of the Brazilians, and once they did that under executive orders under President Bush, the flow stopped overnight. In fact, the border guard, the head of the union down there, told me if President Obama stood by an airplane and returned the people to Guatemala, that overnight they would stop the flow.
Well, if President Obama's not going to enforce deportations, what can Congress do?
Well, I think we can fund, and he wants to make a deal. I think we can fund for the transportation back. We can modify the bill ironically from 2008, but that's not when the kids started coming over in flows. They came as an invasion in this nation when Obama declared permission that would be granted under what was called the DREAM Act. The DREAM Act basically said if you're here, we'll allow you your citizenship. Now, when it got down to Central America, they misinterpreted that, and they realized, the drug smugglers realized, if they grab these kids, in some cases it seems like kidnapping, especially after what I saw firsthand where a little girl was crying saying she wanted to go home. They took action and they sent them north, and they're sending them north primarily on the promise of the DREAM Act. And you can look at the numbers. As soon as President Obama announces the DREAM Act, the numbers shoot through the roof of illegal immigrants.
So you don't think these are refugees in the sense that they're running from something? You think they're running towards?
No, there's more cities have a higher murder rate than Guatemala in the United States. Does that mean we're going to get refugees from Chicago?
Can the National Guard be deployed? Can the Congress do it?
National Guard should be deployed, and the federal government should pick up the tab for that. Right now, the border guards are so busy feeding the children, taking care of the children. They're not doing the regular responsibilities. It'd be nice if we could have more people down there helping out. There's not enough people. We drove around for an hour and a half and didn't see anybody. In fact, ironically, a group of families that we met with children, they were upset that they couldn't find the border guards to surrender to. They walked around trying to find somebody. So we need more help, but we also need the president and others to take action to return the people home. It is safer. It's more humane. Think about this. When they travel 1,000 miles, some people took 30 days to get there, from their homes up through the period that they're traveling, there's many people are raped, murdered, kidnapped. It is a boon to the drug smugglers and the other people that are taking advantage of these people. It is much more humane to stop the flow than to allow it to continue.
Well then, since Obama wants this money to process them, why not also say, okay, give us money to build a fence? Why not build a fence right now?
We already allocated money for the fence. Unfortunately, no one's built the fence, and we could allocate more money, but we could also mandate the fence works. Now, the president says the fence doesn't work. I would challenge him to remove his fence around the White House if it doesn't work. Fences work. It works in Israel. It would work here. And we can put some fencing up. Now, granted, it doesn't work everywhere. We can't always put up a fence. But if you travel down the freeways in Texas, you will see walls that they put up, barriers, and they put them up very rapidly. You could do it easily and quite quickly in Texas. President Obama declares himself an executive order to grant amnesty to everyone, would have an uprising, I think, in Congress, and I think legitimately, I believe that we'd have a right to take him also for that to court too, because I think that's going beyond executive orders, or going beyond the executive, that's actually legislative, and that nobody's violating the Separation of Powers Act. And you cannot, in an executive branch, step on the legislation and say, hey, I'm going to do this. Maybe because he hasn't been in office that long. He really wasn't a state senator that long, and he wasn't really a United States senator for that long before he became president. But he's using his office in a way that is unconstitutional. I think that President Obama is using this crisis, as he has with other things, to further the political agenda and try to make us look heartless. And I refer that when he keeps calling out the Texas Republicans, when in fact it was him who was shooting pool and drinking beer and refused to go on the border and to meet with these families and these kids. To me, that speaks volumes about his true heart. It speaks volumes about who he is as a man. He should go down on the border, he should meet with the families, and he needs to show more compassion, and he also needs to take action.
Do you think you're going to have the votes to stop him from getting this $3.7 billion?
I don't think he's going to get $3.7 billion or anything near that, because a lot of the money is allocated for lawyers. I don't think the House Republicans want to fund a bunch of trial attorneys so they can give contributions to his coffers. The money should be directed at building a wall, completing the wall, and helping with the children directly in terms of food and aid. But to say that we're going to fund that amount so mostly trial attorneys can get their money, no, it's not going to happen. We need to return the families back home, so we send the message, you come up here, you're going to be sent home quickly.